In class, we learned how to investigate relationships between two numeric variables, both visually via the use of scatterplots and quantitatively using correlation coefficients and regression equations. In today's lab, you're going to use Minitab as an aid in this pursuit. So we have before us a data set from the Student 15 survey in Math 37. And what we're going to do to illustrate the commands that you'll need to know are to look at the relationship between risk score and how much students paid for their last haircut. So the first step usually when you're looking at a relationship between two variables is to do some sort of visualization. And with numeric variables, that would be a scatterplot. Creating a scatterplot in Minitab is pretty easy. You just click on the graph drop-down menu. The first option there is scatterplot. And you can just do a simple scatterplot, or you can actually have it plot the regression line along with the points. So let's look at that option. And then you just choose a y variable for your response and the x variable, which would be your predictor. Now I'm going to choose haircut as my response and risk score as my predictor because it seems natural to me to look at how much a student paid for their haircut as sort of a function of how risky of an individual they are. And if we plot the resulting data points, we can see that maybe there's a slight negative correlation, but really it kind of looks like a random scattering, and I doubt that this is a significantly negative correlation between the two variables. Now, one thing you might notice here is that in this scatter plot, there's a large number of outliers who paid more than $150 for their last haircut. And there's often situations where you either want to exclude outliers or just exclude a group from your analysis, and you can do that by creating a subsetted worksheet in Minitab. So to do that, click on the Data drop-down menu, and then under the Subset Worksheet option, you can call it whatever you want, and you're going to specify which rows to include in your new subset or which rows to exclude in your new subset. What we're going to do is we're going to exclude all rows in which the haircut cost was greater than $150. So first we'll click on specify which rows to exclude. And then down here where it says rows that match, we're going to click on condition. We're going to select the haircut variable and say we want to exclude any rows where haircut is greater than 150. Of course, this is equivalent to including rows where the haircut was less than or equal to 150, so you could also do it that way. Now if we click on OK twice, you'll see that we have a new worksheet pop up in front of us in the Minitab window. And if we go back and we create a new scatter plot of our two variables, haircut and risk score, right? Making sure that the new worksheet is selected, we now get a new scatter plot. Those high individuals have been removed, and we still see that, maybe if anything, there's a little bit stronger of a negative correlation now for this new data. Now, if you actually want to quantify the strength of the correlation by looking at the correlation coefficient and the regression equation, you can do that if you go to the Stat menu and regression analysis here, right? So there's a regression option, fit regression model, and we're going to include haircut as a response and risk score as a continuous predictor, right? And when you click OK, you'll see that Minitab gives you a lot of information in this window. And as we move further in the course, we're going to discuss exactly what all that other information means. But for now, the important thing to note is the equation of the regression line that it actually gives you, which can be found in this coefficients section. So the constant, that would be the intercept in the regression model. And then the coefficient of the predictor variable you enter, that would be the slope of your model, right? Now, if you actually want to get the correlation between the two variables, so as a number, right, you can also do that using stat and then basic statistics correlation. Okay? And for this, you just enter the two variables. It doesn't matter which order you put them in. Click OK, and it tells you that the correlation between them is -1.21, which seems like a fairly weak negative correlation.